So I wanted to just say a few words about the passing of David Miranda, who was not only a congressperson in Brazil, but also the husband of Glenn Greenwald. Glenn is a good friend, and I was really heartbroken to see this when he posted this yesterday. He said that it is with the most profound sadness that I announced the passing away of my husband. He would have turned 38 tomorrow. His death early this morning came after a 9-month battle in the intensive care unit. He died in peace, surrounded by our children and family and friends. That's him right here. May he rest in peace. And here's some pictures, some nice pictures that Glenn posted. Really, really heartbreaking. I remember when he went into the ICU a few months ago, and I'd already reached out to Glenn and just wanted to share my sympathies. And wow, I was not expecting this. The first time that I heard or found out about David Miranda was actually during 2013. When Glenn Greenwald was doing, one of the most amazing acts of journalism in history. When he published the Snowden documents about the NSA mass surveillance. And I found out about his husband because the British airport police, at Heathrow, I think it was, it doesn't matter. They harassed him. They harassed David Miranda, his husband. They basically used the Terrorism Act of 2000 to detain him without charge for 8 hours and question him. And this is one of the most authoritarian pieces of legislation in British history. And it's something that was actually, it was created in the Troubles and then, readapted, of course. That, it basically gives the police permission to harass anyone they like. And if you must answer every question they tell you. If you don't answer their question or comply with them, they say, unlock your phone, give us the password. If you say no, you will be charged with obstruction of justice, formally charged, and then, booked. I mean, they use this. So basically, Glenn was publishing these documents about massive global surveillance by the NSA. And they thought because his husband is passing through the airport that they can, accuse him of carrying documents for that, as if this is terrorism, right? So journalism is now terrorism. Huh. And they detained him the full 8 hours and harassed him, so that was very disgusting what they did to him. But this makes me even more sad. And actually, Lula, Brazil's president, who's just reelected a second term after, spending a stint in prison. And ironically, it's Glenn Greenwald's journalism who got Lula out of jail and proved his innocence, which is, again, another act of valiant journalism and that challenges power centers and actually expose these corrupt judges in Brazil. Lula also sent his condolences to Glenn on Twitter. I saw that. And here's Edward Snowden saying that this is heartbreaking news. Of everyone who had a hand in the 2013 revelations of global mass surveillance, my dear friend David Miranda was perhaps the most righteous and pure. I will never forget that when the UK broke its own laws to detain David as a quote-unquote terrorist for daring to aid an act of journalism and threatened to throw him in a dungeon for the rest of his life, he never faltered. Instead, he dared them to do it. It was that courage that set him free, that courage that moved the story forward, that will forever serve as the example of a man at his best. I will miss you, David. Stay free. It's heartbreaking, And I remember I showed you ironically a clip of David and Glenn just a few weeks ago when they detained that French journalist, also using the same terrorism act. That clip you saw Glenn saying that I have a lot of documents about Britain. He meant GCHQ, right? As one example. Of the British security services working with the Americans, working in general to spy on people, everybody, the mass surveillance that was being carried out. And he said, I'm going to publish them. Yeah, and this is why they did this, because they want to stop us from doing our work. So again, I just wanted to say a few words. Rest in peace, David Miranda, and my heartfelt sympathies and condolences to Glenn. Yep.